The James Cook Hotel Grand Chancellor is 35 years old now. It's really a grand old lady. It was the first international hotel in Wellington, and I arrived nearly 6 years ago. And when I arrived, it was performing okay, but it was a little bit tired and needed some money spent on it.
I've been here 33 years. I've seen the hotel grow. It started with a 200-room hotel. It's now a 260-room hotel. So we've been through many renovations, rebuildings, and it's grown a lot. It's changed a lot. They used to have lots of staff to do the job, and the job was heavy. Quilts and eiderdowns and heavy wool blankets, and everything was heavy and took a lot of strength and a lot of time to do things.
So really for the last 5 years we've gone through a pretty major refurbishment program, spent close to $7 million on the hardware, and spent quite a bit of money on the software, which are our people.
Over the years, I guess coming through the ranks, because I've grown with the hotel very much so, they have developed from doing no training except teaching you the job to developing me as a person. I've learned to be a lot more confident in myself. I've learned to grow. I've learned to listen to people, and they've sent me on many, many courses and taught me many, many things, which I hope I impart to my staff.
We want our frontline staff to be trained to the level of managers, so that should they need a rise where we need a manager to jump in, we can pull one of our frontline staff in to be trained. We put them through any kind of course that they're willing to stick their hand up for. If they're passionate and interested in it, we're willing to develop our time and energy into developing that person.
One of the key problems in the hotel industry is the churn of staff. And traditionally, somewhere between 50 and 80% turnover per year, and we sort of figure that's way too high. Going through the recruitment program, training, bringing them up to speed is about $10,000 to us. So if we're turning over 50 to 80%, that's several $100,000 a year. So we've worked very hard in the last 5 years, bringing that down to around 40%, which is still, in other industries may seem high, but we think we've done a good job there. And the way we've done that is through training, staff benefits, communication, and really making the staff part of the team and breaking down a lot of that hierarchy that was in place here.
We have a 3-month intensive training course for the girls, and we start them off and we train them in every way we know how, and then we take them along and we buddy them with an experienced housemaid so that they can learn the finer points, the small detail things that take time to learn, and it makes them very efficient and very proud of the product, and it gives them a sense of ownership. A
great indicator of our success in retaining staff is the fact that we've got a couple of staff that have been here for the whole time the hotel's been open. That's 35 years. There's more than 20 that have done 20 years service, and there's another 50 that have done 5 years service. So in a staff of 180, we reckon that's pretty good going in terms of holding on to our people.
Well, the bosses are great. They're pushing me, so I hope one day I'll be a supervisor.
Health and safety is certainly an area that we've taken very, very seriously. We have a very active OSH committee who meet on a regular basis and are always knocking on my door demanding that things are resolved.
I am an officer on the Health and Safety Committee here, and there's lots of areas in the last year and a half that we've thought, hang on, I know this has probably been like this for a few years now, but if we change it, it's going to make improvements.
We do find it hard to find staff in this industry. The last thing we want is, our people staying home because of bad backs or, sprains and things like that. So at the end of the day, it's about, productivity, keeping the staff on our floor rather than at home, and reducing our sick leave as much as possible.
To have a budget for health and safety is irrelevant really, because it's money that you need to spend to keep your team happy and safe at work.
Incentives are a really good way of getting the best out of people. When I first started, we had the smiley stamps, and it's a little yellow stamp that sits on my desk. So every time your name gets mentioned in a customer service critique, we make this big thing and you get your name stamped. And when I first started, the concierge boys, being pretty, macho and, didn't really want to take part in the stampies. And that was fine, that's okay. But at the end of the month, once I started giving out the presents and the prizes for getting 3 stamps, the concierge boys did a 180. And so all their counterparts getting, 6-pack of beers or, a petrol voucher. And then they became highly competitive to get their own stamps up on the wall, which has driven our customer service satisfaction to be over 94% every month, which is fantastic. So something that was kind of quirky back in the day, very, very successful these days.
We probably spend somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000 a year on staff incentives, which seem to work. You know, anything from a massive staff party at the end of the year to little scratchy cards that might be a $5 petrol voucher or some shopping vouchers or a movie ticket or something like that. We're very free with that, and it's something that I certainly encourage my managers to do. I'm probably a fairly non-typical sort of a hotel general manager these days. I did start in the kitchen as a kitchen hand some 22 years ago, and I was lucky enough to go through a trainee manager's course. So I sort of moved up through every department, starting washing dishes, going up through the restaurant, through the bars and things like that. During that time, you know, I've recognised that hierarchy doesn't always work in hotels, and that my philosophy on running a hotel is really breaking down all those tiers, in that everyone's the same.
We've got concierge team, half of them are training to be lawyers, architects. I want to tease every ounce of intelligence out of these people that I can. That's my job as a manager, to understand exactly what their strengths are, develop their strengths and enhance their weaknesses. Every month when we get the profit and loss coming out, we sit down, we go through it line by line together, let them understand how one thing reflects on another and how it impacts their business, because when they get an understanding, they might have a great idea that I haven't thought of.
We have 10 key managers here in this hotel managing various departments. My role really is making sure that those 10 people are gelling, you know, that there's synergy throughout the departments. What we need to make sure is that those 10 managers have no barriers between each other. You know, if something needs to be said, they can say it, and there's no personal feelings hurt or anything like that. The key word, I think, is communication, and that there's no secrets. People know what's going on here. By breaking down the hierarchy, we've encouraged a lot of cross-training into other departments. So at the end of the day, the productivity is very high per staff member, in that, for example, if there's a porter on the concierge desk, he's not busy, but he can see the restaurant is busy. He's trained to jump in there, help out, and vice versa.
We are doing a lot more with less staff. Probably years ago we had 2 girls to a floor, and there's 20 rooms on a floor. Now we're down to 1.5 girls per floor, just through revamping the techniques that we use and the systems we use in training and in actually cleaning the rooms and turning them around. We can get a room turned around fairly quickly now. Only takes us about 25 minutes to turn a room around, as opposed to 35, 40 minutes in the days gone by.
Back in 2003, we entered the Hospitality Association Awards in 5 categories and won 4 of those, including the Supreme Award. And that was great for the staff to see that, you know, we've been recognised by our peers. The other one of note really is the Best Places to Work, that we were a finalist in last year. That really is the staff telling us that, yes, we are looking after you. They are happy to stay here. It is a great place, you know, not just to serve the customers, but a great place to work in.
Being in the hospitality trade, you have to be hospitable to each other, and being hospitable to each other, you know, that's what we've developed here as a culture, and I think that reflects the way we work together and towards our guests, which has made us a really, you know, successful operation.
I think if you could ask me the question, you know, why is the hotel so successful, that's, you know, comes down to one answer. That is the staff. The fact we've been able to hold on to our people, and that knowledge is retained in the hotel, and that's certainly the key to our success.
I think it's having fun, enjoying yourself while you do it. If you love coming to work, then you're going to produce a good result, and I think you do that very well here.